Don't overcomplicate awakening. When it comes to first awakening, that first big shift in identity, it's very easy to unnecessarily complicate the process. It's an exquisitely simple process. If anything, we tend to get in its way when we start to sense that it's moving in our life. So I'm going to break down the variety of ways that we get in our own way when it comes to awakening and overly complicate the process into three general categories. There is, of course, overlap in these categories, and at different times, different people will fixate in one or more of these ways. But these are the three that I see the most commonly, or the three aspects to this overcomplicating of the awakening process. The first is timing. The second is intellectualizing. And the third is searching for resources. So the first is really a matter of natural timing. There is a timing to this process, and sometimes you have to be in the right place at the right time, or bump into the right person, or come across the right resource to plant a seed, which later will start to germinate into a authentic drive to awaken. It's quite frequent that I talk to people who 2, 3, 5 years ago read a book by Thich Nhat Hanh or Adyashanti or Eckhart Tolle and describe the experience as something like frustrating, confusing, or moderately enjoyable. But often they'll say something to the effect of, I didn't really get it. There was something I liked about it, but I just didn't feel like I quite understood what was going on in the book or what was being described. And then they sort of just move on and go about the business of life. And then wonder of wonders, 3, 4, 5 years later, they bump into a different person or another book or resource or a video, and all of a sudden they feel like they get it. And they feel like they've always gotten it, but somehow it was just being obscured or the timing wasn't right. And often they'll reference back to that first resource that they came in contact with, like the book, and reread it, and suddenly it makes sense. So I've heard this pattern described many times before, and I'm sure it's happened to me. It happened in my early life before awakening. And this is just how it is. Sometimes the timing has to be right. So if you feel like you've recently come in contact with something like a message, a book, a person, a video that resonates, but it's just not clear, it doesn't make sense, you don't know what to do with it, sometimes you just need time. Now, if you're in the second phase of that process I described, and you're returning to this topic or interest or movement in your life and looking for a deeper pointing or a more direct way or path to awakening, then you're in a good place. This is what we're going to address in this video. So the timing takes care of itself. You won't have that much interest in this until the time is right. And when the time is right, it will become very interesting, if not the most interesting thing there is to you. So that's when you're ripe for this shift and ready to step foot on the pathless path right through the bottom of your identity and directly into the unknown. The second barrier I see, or fixation I see, that overcomplicates this process or sneakily distracts people from this first movement, this first surrender to the universal identity, to the unbound identity, is intellectualization. I have nothing against reading about spirituality, reading books, reading suttas, reading the old masters, analyzing, etc. But if you haven't had this major shift, if it's still intellectual for you, then more of that knowledge at this juncture, at this point, is just not going to be helpful to you. If you feel this yearning to shift, to break through, to undermine the illusion of separate identity, to wake up from the dream of suffering, then reading more about it isn't going to be what you need, in my opinion, most of the time. The grasping for knowledge is actually an attempt of the identified mind, thought-identified mind, concept-drunk mind, to keep itself afloat, to keep itself alive. It senses what's coming, and we can fool ourselves by telling ourselves we're adding knowledge, gaining knowledge, delving in, learning more to wake up, when we're actually doing it to avoid something, to avoid what we've been avoiding for a long time. Surrender, truly letting go, plucking up our life root. We feel it coming, and it's scary, intimidating, unknowable. It's powerful. It's beyond our scope, our dimension, and we know it, we feel it. So, because we are mind identified when we start this journey, then we try to solidify our reality with knowledge, whether we know this or not. So when it comes to First Awakening, when it comes to this first big shift, I suggest if you really feel this pull, you really feel that it's time to wake up, it's time to let go, it's time to dissolve the separate ego, then you don't need to read anymore. The third area that I see fixation in around this is obsessively searching for resources. This isn't exactly the same as conceptualizing or intellectualizing, although that may be part of it. It's more like I'm going to find the perfect teacher, I'm going to find the perfect video, I'm going to watch obsessively these non-duality videos and hope that I win the spiritual lottery. I'm going to watch that Tony Parsons video for the 95th time and hopefully it works this time. And if it does, great. But if it doesn't, then searching for resources outside of yourself may be the problem. Looking for the answer in a teacher, a book, an interaction. You may be actually using that relational nature that we humans often use to comfort ourselves, to prevent yourself from looking directly back into your own identity, staring it right in the face, right into the abyss. So if you feel that, then just let go of the outside for a while. Start an authentic and sincere investigation of who you are as the seeker, who you are before the seeker, before the seeking started. Who are you that's aware before you start answering that question with thoughts? What is it to just rest in the I? The sense of the one who's aware of these words, the sounds, the sensations of the body. The one that's always here regardless of what the thoughts are saying. And if it's hard to find, you can ask, who am I? Who is it that's aware of the thoughts? And then just settle into that until the thoughts quiet down, until it becomes very peaceful, neutral, contentless, but you're still awake. Once you're here, just stay. Don't make conclusions. Don't think about it. You don't even need to inquire if the thoughts have calmed down. Just stay in that sense of I or I am, or pure being, aliveness, awakeness, without thinking about it, or taking notes, or wondering about what it means, or wondering if you're awake yet, or if you're almost awake, or if it's coming, or if you missed it. Just remain in the one that could be aware of those thoughts, but it remains when those thoughts subside. It's the center of what you feel like you are. Just let go of all those concepts. And just stay there. It's just a matter of time. if you're ruthless about what a thought is and what this pure, aware moment of self is. It's not something you have to think about, because it's always at the center of thinking. It's not something you have to find, because finding is a thought. Seeking is a thought. When you're here, there's nothing to seek. There's nothing apart. Apartness is a thought. Self and other is a thought. Enlightenment is a thought. Awake or asleep are thoughts. So just this I, or just this non-I presence. The centerless center. Completely neutral. No expectations, because expectations are thoughts. No anticipations, because anticipations are thoughts. So just this. Once you're here, which is where you've always been, where you can't leave, because the moment there's a perception of you, it's already here. And it doesn't need any qualification, confirmation. It's self-confirmatory. So once you're here, there's nothing more to do. Don't wait. Don't take notes. Don't analyze. Just this. And at some point, the shift will occur. But you can't make it occur. If you try to anticipate it, that's a thought. So you can just let that go. It's called resting in the I am sense, or resting in pure being, or stopping. This is exquisitely simple. Don't complicate it. Do yourself this service of finally finding out what you are.